Hello everyone, welcome back to another replay analysis from my replay analysis threads over at reddit.com/r/starcraft. I mean /r/allthingsprotoss. So we're gonna do a game here between Aquila and George SC. We got Aquila as the red Protoss down here. He's the one that submitted it, obviously. And this is a Platinum League game. Something I forgot to mention the first game is that was a low Masters game. It's Diamond game, I think that's what he said. So yeah, just bear with me as I kind of like get through all the rough kinks of the early stages of this. Gotta try to remember to say everything I can early on to give enough background information and whatnot. So this is a Platinum game. I'm also trying out new settings with the recording and whatnot. Try to get it at the least amount of lag as possible. I think last video there was a little bit of stuttering here and there, kind of like what's happening right now. I gotta figure out how to fix that while not really sacrificing that much. Alright, so a little bit already happened this game, so I want to pause here. So we started off with what looks like a 1 gig expand versus a zerg. We have 2 gases already. Let's see, did he do double gas? It looks like it. Yes, he did. Alright, so he went double gas. I don't know how I feel about that. That's a little... I feel like it's unnecessary, but again, we have to kind of see what he does exactly, so I'll wait. I'll hold off on that. So we see a hatchery first, or I hope we see a hatchery first. Yes, we do. Okay, so we see a hatchery first, but we don't go back into the main, which is a little bit concerning. Since he goes for a hatch first, we know he's not going to have any lings out to be able to chase our probe away, and he's not going to have a third base down by at like the earliest 4 minutes. He could get one at like 3:45, but that's kind of ridiculous. That's if we went like double hatch before pool, but that's very uncommon. So having this probe here is a little unnecessary. There's really nothing to see at this point at 3:30. The earliest we should be going down to check if he's got this third base is at 4 minutes or so. So we need to be going back into the main to check when his pool timing is to make sure he is actually getting that and not doing like a 2 hatch before pool or something. And we need to see if he's getting gas, which this game he actually is, which is definitely a very crucial thing of information we need, because that means we will be seeing when his speed is going to be going up. So if he's going like a normal 3 hatch before gas, then he's not going to have speed anytime soon. I always forget the exact timing of when the earliest he could possibly get speed for that, but like it's long after you can do some sort of early like gateway pressure with like a zealot stalker mothership core kind of thing. But if we see an early gas, then we know that this guy speed is going to be a lot quicker. So doing some kind of early pressure is a little riskier. So we need to be checking to see exactly what the other player is doing. All right, so we're getting a zealot. We're getting our mothership core. Still haven't seen anything being done with this early double gas. We could be doing a zealot sentry off of 1 gas. So we got 2 zealots and a mothership core for some pressure. I remember people doing this a while ago. I don't think it's that good anymore, just because a lot more zergs are going for the gas before. This is a little important. Let's go back a little bit. So a lot of zergs are going for early gas now for early speed, since a lot of people are doing early like warp gate stuff with 1 gate expands and whatnot. Especially if you're going 1 gate expand and they scout it, they're going to be going gas no matter what. Like that's like part of the thing that they need to defend any sort of 1 gate expand shenaniganry. Because if you're going 1 gate expand, you're either doing really fast tech to like DTs or Stargate to try to do complete damage, like actual definitive damage, or you're going for like an early warp gate attack, which both of those, well, not really the tech, but like the speed is more for delaying when they go for tech. But either way, you need speed to deal with those, because speed helps versus warp gate attacks fairly easily, because you can surround much better, and then it also helps versus the tech builds because you can easily deny their expansion since it's going to be later. So it's much easier to deny that when you actually have speed. So doing these kinds of really quick couple unit pressures aren't really that good anymore because of people doing earlier gas timings. And as we saw, it did absolutely nothing. So right here we have a little bit of a oopsie daisies. Letting some lings up is not good. We need to make sure that this is walled off all the time, especially since we saw the lings running down. There's no reason to not have something plugging up that hole. Even if you have to put like an emergency building down for the time being and then cancel it, there should be something in that hole. So that's a little annoying that this is happening. But that's kind of an easy fix. That force field is also a little meh. He could have, I think we definitely could have saved that without using that. He loses the overload or the overcharge. That's quite silly. Alright, so still nothing being done with his early gas. That leads me to believe that it's a little inefficient. No real reason to be getting that early gas. And so I don't see a reason to get that. So Stargate's going down now. Again, we could be getting this off a normal 1 gas, 1 gate expand. There's no reason for the double 15 gas, so it's just kind of an inefficient build at this point. So we are going against mutas. Another thing that I didn't mention is that this probe is still here, and we didn't see any third base, and it's long past any sort of timing for a normal third base to go down. And he actually built it up here, which is a little weird. You don't really see this at all, ever. So that's a little annoying. But something that would tip you off to believe that you might have to scout over here is that just the fact that like this probe is still here at 9 minutes. Like, there had to be something going on over here by the 9-minute mark to get rid of this probe, or he's doing some sort of mad, ridiculous 2-base tech play, which he kind of is, because his third base is also quite late. But if we don't see a third base at all by the 5-minute mark, 5-minute mark is like, if it's not down by 5 minutes, then he's definitely doing some sort of 2-base tech. So if he doesn't have that third base down by 5 minutes, we need to be checking other options. So we could go up to the to this other third option, even though it's not really that common of a third option, or we could be going to see what the gas count is, because he does have early double gas at the natural. So if we were able to see that, that would be quite key. Usually people get that at around 6 to 6:30. I actually kind of want to see if he does that back this game. He actually gets them quite later. That's because of the sling attack, that's right. Whatever. But anyway, it's kind of beside the point. But yeah, we need to be more active with this probe, seeing exactly what's going on, because right now it's 9 minutes and we just now kind of get into the base a little bit. But we do see the double gas, so that's good. And now we get in here with our hallucinated Phoenix, and we see the muta. Oh my god, my computer. What is going on? No, stop. Alright, so we see the mutas. So this is pretty key. Why is my computer just like exploding right now? Okay. I have to figure out a better way a more effective way to do this. So, anyway. So we see mutas. We are already going Stargate, which is just a good follow-up to a 1-gate expand, since a lot of responses to a 1-gate expand are to go straight to mutas. So getting a Stargate is a very good idea. So we're getting Phoenix, which is also great. And so now that we actually see the Spire itself, now we know exactly what we're going against. And we need to immediately drop down cannons in each of the mineral lines, and we need to be chrono boosting Phoenix non-stop. Like, nothing but Phoenix need to be being made right now. So we get a couple cannons in the main, that's good, and start to get a couple cannons in the natural as well, so that's also wonderfully bejugular. Where did those mutas go? Did they all die? They did. Alright, so that was great. He even got a second Stargate, which is awesome. Kind of breezing through that quite quickly, so let's speed it down a little bit. So we have our Phoenix out. We defended the initial mutas quite easily. And now we can start poking up into their base just a little bit. We still have not... Oh yeah, we did see that third base, didn't we? No, we didn't, actually. So we still should be checking the third base. Need to be seeing if that's actually something that's happening, so that way you know how you are economically. So now, let's just speed it down a little bit. So we get our third base up. We're getting a lot of sentries. It's a little interesting. But anyway, so. Oops. Wrong hockey. Alright, so now these mutas come up. Let's see, where's our Phoenix at? Alright, they're over here. Why do we only have 7? Was he not making... I don't think he was making Phoenix the entire time. No, he's not. Alright, so we're not making Phoenix the entire time. This is definitely not something that's advised. If we see that he's continuing Mutalisk production, like if we kill the first batch of mutas, see, this is what happens sometimes. Sometimes zergs will go for one batch of mutas with another tech option on the side, so that way they just go for the initial like 6 to 10 mutas, so that way they force a reaction out of you to make the Phoenix, double Stargate Phoenix. Because a lot of zergs like to just mass mutas, and you need Phoenix to be able to deal with that. So what they'll do is they'll come in with the first small batch of mutas, you kill that pretty easily, and then you continue making Phoenix expecting them to continue mutas. But then they can just go ahead and transition into like roaches or hydras right after that and just overwhelm you with huge macro while you're wasting all this time on Phoenix. That's one thing. Or they could just be making more mutas, which is kind of the easier, more straightforward thing. In this case, we have more mutas being made, in which case we need constant Phoenixes being made. So we went over to his base after the initial mutas. We saw more mutas being made, and now we see this huge batch of huge flock of mutas have been made. So we need Phoenix production non-stop for this. Overcharge does get thrown down. That's nice. Another bad thing is our units that are the other anti-air units are still not moving. We need to be keeping our army together and defending the most important points. We see that this third base is getting attacked. We should move all of our anti-air units over there and let the Phoenixes, the mobile Phoenixes, chase the mutas down if they decide to kind of cut over here to take these bases on at all. So we need everything defending where the large flock is, and then let the Phoenix kind of shift around if need be. So this third base looks like it's going to die, which it wouldn't if we had more Phoenix, which we could easily, especially since our money is quite high. So that third base goes down. That is very unfortunate and not advised to do. Luckily, he lost pretty much all of his mutas in the process, so that's at least a somewhat decent trade-off. And then we have +1 or +2, the +2 range about to be done as well. These Phoenix, these Stargates should be rallied to other Phoenix in our group already, so that we don't have these idle Phoenix like that. So let's see. So he loses his big mutaflock, and now he switches into hydras. This is like the other thing that I was saying, where if they don't just keep making mutas, they'll just kind of do a big tech switch because you've committed to Phoenix so much. But hydras are kind of not the greatest thing to tech switch into, because Phoenix are still actually quite good against them. If you have a good amount of them, they're actually quite well at doing support for ground army, because they do extra versus light, and hydras are light right there. So Phoenixes still actually can deal quite a bit of damage and melt hydras quite quickly. But if they get too much of them and you don't actually have enough to deal with it, then obviously it can be a little troublesome. Alright, so now we're going to the carriers, which is kind of weird. There's really... I don't see a reason for this at all. Carriers are very expensive. They take in both time and money. They take forever to build. Holy balls, they take forever to build. So there's really, I don't see a reason. This is good. I don't see a reason to be making these right now. Like, I don't see a reason to be making carriers over void rays right now. Void rays are less in supply, less in money, and less in time, and they effectively do more damage in lower numbers. You need a well, I don't know if I can say that, since carriers are quite good, but they can get targeted down quite easily. And once the carrier is dead, that's pretty much it. Like, you're not gonna have another one for whoever. Like, I don't even know how long. 120 more seconds, according to Blizzard. But So just getting more, it's more effective to get more voiders out after you get a good Phoenix base. So these carriers aren't going to be doing that much, I don't think. Even though they are good against Hydras, again, you're not going to have that many, and it's much harder to resupply with carriers. So this counterattack is good. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually kill that. We could have moved our mutas or our Phoenix over there to actually kill these mutas since we saw them there. And then we could have sent another Zealot Warp in easily to actually just finish that off. Lose a couple Phoenix for actually no. I don't think he killed any Overlords right there, so that's a little not that great. Ooh, lose some more over the Hydras. Again, kind of not good. Want to be able to be aware of what our units are doing here. And now this big attack's coming. Army supply. We're down a little bit. But everything's kind of spread out. He's never actually regrouped his entire army into one to be able to hold to put it anywhere. He's just been having it. These units have been sitting here since the mutas first popped out. We need to group this up and get it into one army defending something. Especially since we saw we saw the Hydras coming, so there's no reason to not have our army clumped up at the third somewhere, at least somewhere up front that's not in the back of our base. So yeah, we need to have our army all together as one to be able to fight in these big engagements. And even though that they're attacking here, we're still not moving, which is kind of weird. So army supply actually evens up now that we got these carriers out, and carriers are obviously very good against Hydras. But the game is about to end, and it does. Huh. We have a decent amount of harvesters. Our army supply is actually bigger now. He only has 1/1. What do we have? We have 1 upgrade, 1 attack, and 1 shield, which is decent. We have 2 carriers. Carriers are very good against Hydras. Don't get me wrong, they're not bad in any regard. It's just that Void Rays just make our build faster, and you can mass them up easier, and are generally just easier to get to, and a more solid. They're more reliable because you know that they'll be getting out in time, as opposed to carriers. You may not be getting them out at the time you need, but if they're out, the carriers are great, and they're actually very good at DPSing down Hydras. I don't see a reason to leave at this point. We have a good bank. We're pretty much even on supply. We have, a decent gateway count. Actually, pretty decent gateway count. We have the carriers. I don't see a reason to have left this game at this point. Good force fields, guardian shield would be able to pretty effectively cut this up. And then the carriers would there's no mutas out either. These are the only 2 mutas, and they're about to die to the Phoenix. So the carriers would be completely untouched. He even has +1 attack on them. I don't see a reason to have left this game. This easily could have been one game at this point. He doesn't have. Where's all his harvesters? There's 22 there. He has a lot up here. Okay, there they are. Jesus. So yeah, his economy isn't even that great. It's not even that much farther ahead than the Protoss, even though he has an extra base. So yeah, I don't see a reason to have left this game. I guess that's kind of just a misread. I guess just you should just be knowing when you can head on, just kill an army. So I guess that's a little unfortunate. But again, just kind of recap a little bit. Let's get a more effective build. We got these 2 early gases, but didn't really do anything with them for quite a long time. We see the lings coming across, so we should have something blocking this hole. That probe obviously wasn't in the right spot. That's a little unfortunate. Make sure to get our tech still, even though our other stuff might be late. The Stargate was quite late. We dealt with the initial mutas quite well, but then we kind of stopped making Just keep speeding it up. Then we kind of stopped the muta production, and we ended up losing our third base somewhere along this. So this ends up dying. So we want to make sure that we keep the muta production up since we see more mutas being made, so that way this doesn't happen. And then just kind of be aware of their tech switches, and then just kind of regroup our army as one, and not lose Phoenix unnecessarily the way he kind of did when he walked them over the Hydras and whatnot. And know that you can kill an army when you see it. Also keep upgrades like constantly going, obviously, as well, and just kind of transitioning, I guess, in a better way, because the carriers weren't, again, just saying again, Void Rays will probably be a better decision, and then going into Charge Lot Storm would definitely be much better against both mutas and whatever they could transition into. Because if they start at mutas, then their upgrades for their ground units are generally going to be pretty weak and not well developed. So Charge Lot Storm can rip through that quite easily. So that's a better transition, I believe, than going into late Colossus, especially since it's a little bit more accessible. And then obviously just keep upgrades going as well. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for this game. Thanks everyone for watching, and I guess subscribe and all that stuff if you want. And then go over to reddit.com/r/allthingsprotoss if you want to submit any replays of your own. So yep, thanks for watching.